What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of The Sit Down. I know this one looks a little bit different than it has in the past, and that's because I just thought it was a good time for me to sort of sit down with you guys and just kind of tell you my story. You know, because it's I feel like it would be a little bit hypocritical to have a whole bunch of people kind of come on their show and talk about their story without me sort of sharing mine. And I'm excited to kind of just fill you guys in and catch you guys up, a little bit about me. So for anybody who's new watching, my name is Colin. I'm the host of The Sit Down. And so I'm originally from Connecticut, and I've been down here in Florida for about, it was 6 years, actually in August. So I've been under here about 6 years now. And I kind of, grew up in the whole private school education sort of system. So I really started in the public school system, shout out to PCS, and then I moved over to Rectory School, shouts to Rectory, and then I went to Pomfret for high school, shouts out to Pomfret as well. And where I'm from up in Connecticut, it's, for us, I have a really big, kind of sense of pride when it comes to family. Family is really, really important to me, and that just means a lot to me. I've always been a family-oriented person. I'm very family-driven, and for me, a lot of the things that I'm trying to do in life, period, really revolve around my family. For me, I want to take my brother on trips that he couldn't imagine going on. I want to take my mother. I want to take my father places they've never been. And, for me, I just want to pay back the people that are important to me. And I want to show them how much what they did for me matters. Because I think in this life, it's about paying it forward, and it's about giving back. And for me, I'm not arrogant to the fact that I wouldn't be here where I am today if it wasn't for a lot of really awesome people who have really impacted me and shaped me along the way. And without those people in my life, I wouldn't be what I am right now. And I need to make sure that I pay it forward to those people, because that's important to me. And that's part of the reason why, I want to do this YouTube channel, because I think this is a way that I can really pay it forward, to show who I am as a person, to allow my voice to be heard, to allow other people's voices to be heard. That will help me expand my sphere of influence and be able to impact the masses. One of my goals in life is to try to impact as many people as I possibly can. And not for the reward, not for the monetary gain, not for the things that I'm going to reap, but for the seeds that I'll sow in the people to come. Because I know for me, I benefited a lot in life from the seeds that people sowed in me. A lot of people invested a lot into me growing up, a lot of their time, their effort, their spirit, their mindset within me. And I know what it did for me, and I know what it can do for other people. And I want to make sure I don't shortchange that. I want to really make sure I try to pay it forward, to the people that really matter. And one thing I wanted to kind of talk about with me, because I think in life, there's things that I call defining moments. What are things that really stick out to you when you think about your story, when you think about your journey? What are those defining moments that really stick out to you? And what are those things that really shaped you to who you are today? And I think for me, I have 3 defining moments for me that I think really made me who I am today. And I think my first one came with I don't know if this is really kind of touchy or anything like that, but I'm going to go there because the truth is what's important. And so for me, the first thing was my parents actually separated, and getting divorced. And for me, it was a really hard time in my life, because I was 16, 17 years old, a sophomore in high school, when my parents decided to separate and go do things on their own. And it was tricky, because I was living with my mother, seeing my father every day. And with anything, divorce never goes according to plan. You never plan for divorce, I would imagine. You never game plan for that in life, period. And my parents were really trying to figure it out along the way. And unfortunately, in a sense, I kind of got caught in the middle between the two. But I won't even say unfortunately, because that was one of the things that really helped me grow and develop as a man. What do you do when the rubber meets the concrete? What do you do when times get tough? Do you shut down? Do you curl up in a ball and say, well, woe is me? Or do you pick your head up? Do you figure out ways to solve the problems? And do you move forward and accept the things that are in life and use them to benefit you? And do you use them as a tool to grow? And for me, although it was really hard in the moment, even in the years following, I know that really kind of shaped me and helped me grow, because without those things, I wouldn't be able to have the mindset I have now about marriage. I wouldn't be able to have the concepts that I have now about what I do and don't want. My parents, I love them to death. If I had to step out in front of traffic right now to save them, it wouldn't even be a thought. I would do it in a split second. And for me, although it wasn't easy, it wasn't ideal, that really helped me understand a lot, not only about me, but about my parents, and my respect for my mother and my respect for my father grew tremendously together and individually. Because I think one of the things when you have parents that are together your whole life, a lot of times I think the relationship gets morphed into one relationship between your parents and not parent to child and parent to child. And I think for me, I got blessed with a really cool opportunity to be able to grow relationships with both my father and my mother separately. And what's really cool is that, I understand now that there's a lot of different dynamics, to those relationships. And there's things that I talk about my mother with that I don't talk to my father with, and vice versa. There's things that I talk to my father about that I don't talk to my mother about, and it's not because I wouldn't feel comfortable doing it. It's just that's just how our relationship is, and I'm so grateful for that. So that was really one of my first defining moments. My second defining moment was actually when, so senior year in high school, just got cleared to play football again. So I have epilepsy. No big deal, don't even sweat it. But I just got cleared to play football again for my senior year. So we're going into our fourth or fifth game of the year, and we're playing against Canterbury. And this is a 2.5 hour drive away from home, and for some strange reason, I think it was a gift from God. I think, thank God, seriously. For some strange reason, my dad decided to come to this game. I don't know why. It's a 2.5 hour game away from home, and he decided to come to this game. And everything's going great. 7 or 8 solo tackles, a couple pass breakups. We're doing fine. We're winning the game. So we had called a play. I believe it was a Z slot seam fly, I think it was. So pretty much I'm in the slot. I do a little fade to the left, and I break it up the seam, and I just have to beat either my defender, or I have to try to get over that safety. So I beat my defender, but my quarterback, George Sternlick, shout out to George Sternlick. Ben Rummo was hurt at the time. Shout out to both y'all. My quarterback, man, that's my quarterback. But George didn't see me on that first play, so we came back to it 2 plays later, and he saw me this time, and I was open. So he hit me for about a 40-yard pass, and I'm hauling. I just had the safety to beat, and he gets me by probably a sliver of my jersey, and had my left leg planted. My leg was completely straight. The momentum pulled me, towards my right, and there's that kind of twist motion. That twist motion with the knee like that. It completely destroyed my whole knee. I don't know if y'all have familiar with the quarterback Milton. He was the UCF quarterback. What his knee looked like, that was very similar to what my knee looked like. So I ended up dislocating my knee. I had a high ankle sprain, and I tore my ACL, MCL, lateral meniscus. And that was such a crazy moment for me, because I didn't even look at my leg the whole time. I just knew something was wrong. And shout out to Josh Smiley too. He came over to me. He started tripping. That's when I knew things were bad. And it's such a strange feeling in life when you're injured and you can't function. You get a lot of strange thoughts in your mind. And again, thank God my dad was there, because I heard them screaming for my dad. I heard they were screaming for the medical attention to come and see me. And they initially thought I had broke my leg, so they thought I had broke my femur. Thank God it didn't happen, but it was a wild experience for me, because I had a lot of aspirations that year. I was hoping to maybe go to college for football. I was hoping to maybe do something college-wise for athletics, and that kind of got taken away from me. And honestly, it was a blessing in disguise, because college athletics aren't easy, and I probably would have gone for football in some form or fashion. And me being undersized at the time, and even now, that would have done a lot of damage to my mind and my body. So I'm grateful that that kind of got taken away from me forcefully. But Yeah, it was a wild experience, man. My hand was all locked up. I was like in shock. I couldn't move my right hand for like an hour and a half. I remember out in the ambulance going to the hospital. It's freaking out. They traction splintered my knee back into place on the field. That was a hell of an experience right there. But it took me so I blew my knee up October 19th of 2013, going into 14. My birthday was October 17th, so I had just turned 19 2 days prior. And then, I blow my knee up in that. And my whole world kind of turned upside down for me because, like I had said, I had a lot of aspirations to do things athletically, and I really made my identity through sports. So to sort of have that taken from me at a time in life where everything was really kind of going in the right direction was definitely a bit of a gut check. But, I'll say that experience was such a defining moment for me because it really made me sit down and slow down and really evaluate where I was at in life. Even at a young age, I don't think you're ever too young to really evaluate where you are in life. And for me, I think God blessed me with the gift to really have a mind that far exceeded my age, far exceeded my years in life. And I've been able to really have a strong perspective and see things in a bigger picture. And, what I realized for me was that I was doing a lot of things in life for a lot of people that didn't care. And I was trying to make a lot of people happy that didn't care whether they were happy with me or not. And I think for me, those people were around because I was able to be a certain way in the moment. I was able to be a certain way at the time. And what was cool was that when that gets taken away from you, those people who are around you because of who you are at the moment, they go away. And you really get to see who is there still. And for me, I had some close people. I'm not going to shout at everybody. But you know who you are, and I really appreciate you guys for sticking with me and fighting with me. I appreciate my trainers. I appreciate all my ATs from UConn that helped me out big time. Cause y'all really kind of saved my life, to be honest. Because I remember this was 2 days after my surgery, so I got my surgery January 13th of 2014. It took me from October 19th to January 3rd to be able to get an MRI because there was so much damage and bleeding and bruising inside of that knee joint that they wouldn't be able to get a clear MRI image. So we had to wait until everything cleared up. I got my knee drained. It was like 40 cc of fluid that got taken out of there. I had to do that twice. So I finally got my MRI in January 3rd of 14. And what was crazy was I kind of went through the whole process twice in a sense, because I went from a really big brace on my knee with crutches to a smaller brace to no brace to running. I was actually thinking about playing in our home game that we had that weekend going up to my MRI I had a couple of days later. And actually, no, that's a lie. I think it was like mid October to early November. I was starting to be able to walk a little bit better, and I think it was towards the end of November we had a football game at home. It was one of our last home games, and this is our senior day. And I was thinking about trying to go out there and play. Thank God I didn't, but I was trying. I was running. I was trying to make cuts, and there was nothing there to support me. But so I got surgery January 13th. Shout out to Dr. Green. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. But that was such a crazy moment for me, because that was a very, very dark place in my life. Because again, when you define yourself through something your whole life, ever since you were a kid, to have that forcefully taken from you at such a pivotal moment in life, that was really hard. And I really kind of lost my identity. And, I'll be completely honest with you guys. I remember this so vividly. It was 2 days after surgery. I was all drugged up on Oxycontin. This is before I had gone to therapy. And, I was just sitting there on the couch, and I was in such a dark place. I actually, was thinking about potentially taking my life, to be honest with you. I really was. I was in just such a dark, such a depressed place, and I really didn't know what I was going to do trying to go forward. And it was that was a scary thought. It was a scary thought, and I didn't really like it too much. But what was cool was I ended up going to therapy the next day following, and thank God for those therapists. They really helped save my life, because they got me moving. They showed me that I could do things that I thought I might not be able to ever do again. And, they really lifted me up. And that's part of the reason why I'm in therapy now, is because of those people who helped me when I was at one of my lowest moments in life. Probably my lowest moment in life. And they really gave me a glimpse of light, and when I was in a very, very dark place in life. But what was so cool, and I'm so grateful for it, because if I had to do it over again, I would do it exactly the same way. I wouldn't change a single thing, because me and my dad, we really went through the trenches together that year. My mom had come down here to Florida junior year, going into my senior year, so she wasn't there to be by me. Obviously we were talking on the phone and things like that, but things were moving so fast, it was impossible for me to really keep her in the loop the way I should have, and I'll definitely take the blame for that. But, me and my dad, we had to pull money out of places we didn't think we could pull money out of to pay for these medical bills. We were trying to hit $5,000, $10,000 deductibles, scraping by, trying to figure out gas money, trying to do all this stuff. It was hard. It was hard. And, I have such a respect for my dad, for everything that he went through for me. He really worked his ass off. He always worked his ass off, but that year in particular, I really got to see something in him that I thought I would never see, which I honestly didn't know he had in him. And to see him do so much for me, to sacrifice everything that he had, to put himself on the line every day for me when I was hurting, when I wasn't the most fun person to talk to, when I was irritable, when I was in pain, when I was depressed, when I was not me. For him to deal with that and to really carry me and to really help me along the way, that was such a pivotal moment for me, because me and my father, we have such a great relationship. And I think that moment, that year, my senior year in high school, was one of those things that really helped me a lot to help kind of grow that relationship and make it what it is now. And it's one of those things, do you look at the cup half full? Do you look at the cup half empty? And for me, I'm always going to look at it as half full, because, the mindset's important. The mindset always dictates what the situation is going to look like to you. And for me, I refuse to let a situation, regardless of what it is, pull me down or make me feel a certain way. I'm going to control that. And, what was so cool is he was one of the people who taught me how to do that. He was always positive, was always happy, was always looking optimistically about the situation, and was always by me the whole way. So got my surgery January 13th, and then from January 13th to even today, I'm still rehabbing, trying to get this leg stronger, trying to get this knee stronger, and it's been 6 years. But it was one of those things. I'm really appreciative for that, and really kind of happy about it. And like I said, I would do it all over again if I had to. And then, another really pivotal moment for me was when I had made the decision to come down to Florida, actually. So I had redone my 5th grade and my 9th grade year twice. Every time I transitioned to a different school, I was blessed to have the opportunity to go to school for low cost, thank God. And my parents thought it was ideal for me to redo those years twice. So I did 5th grade twice, I did 9th grade twice. So I was 19 years old as a senior. I should have been, when I graduated high school, I should have been going into my junior year in college at that point. So for me, I was tired and I was worn out. And, after having the year that I had with my knee and everything like that, I was done. And for me, I really didn't see college being a viable option for me at the time. And I remember my college counselor, Mr. Wolanski. I'm sorry, Mr. Wolanski. I completely BS you that whole time. He was really trying to push me and trying to get me to apply to different places to college. And I really just half-assed applied to a couple of schools, and knowing full well that I wasn't going to get in, and nor did I want to get in, to be honest. And as suggested, or as anticipated, I didn't get in anywhere I applied, which was fine because I didn't want to. I didn't have any ideas of going to school. And, for me, I just really had lost that fire. I had lost that fight within me. I lost that spirit, and I lost that drive that a lot of people kind of know me for. And it was the summertime, but right before I come down here, and I was really trying to think about what I was trying to do. And, I knew that who I was at that moment wasn't who I am, and it made me scared because, where I'm from a super small town in the northeast corner of Connecticut. Shout out to Pomfret. Miss everybody up there. I love everybody up there. But up in Pomfret, we're very limited in terms of what we can do. We're very, very limited in terms of the outlets we have, in terms of how to succeed up there. In my town, we have one gas station. We don't even have a grocery store in my town. We have to go to a neighboring town to go to a grocery store. We had one little cafe, one little alcohol store in our entire town. That was it. So there really was not much there for us. From what I saw, a lot of people would fall into three categories. You'd either work in the schooling system, some form of fashion, you would work in a factory, or you would work in something retail, selling something, Dunkin' Donuts or a grocery store or something like that. And everybody that I knew would fall into one of those three categories. And for me, I just didn't see myself doing that. There's nothing wrong with any of those things. Those are all viable options in life. But for me, I always had bigger vision for myself. I always had bigger concepts for me to accomplish. And for me, I knew I had to do something different. I had to do something drastic. So that was really the biggest factor for me to come down here to Florida. So, I came down here in August of 14, and it's been a whirlwind ever since. Came down here with no friends. I didn't know anybody. And I really, really started over in a sense, and I really laid a foundation, and I've been so blessed. I've met some of the best people in my life down here. I've had some of the best experiences in my life down here. I've had some of the hardest experiences I've had in my life down here. But you want to know what's crazy? If I hadn't taken up that challenge, if I hadn't been aware of what I wanted to do, if I hadn't been through all the stuff that I had been through in life prior to that, I wouldn't have known who I was as a person. I wouldn't have known what I was trying to accomplish. I wouldn't have known what I needed to do or not to do. And for me, although it was hard, and although I miss my family dearly, and I would give anything to be back up there right now, I think this is where I'm supposed to be right now, because I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be in physical therapy. I wouldn't be living on my own. I wouldn't be able to carry myself on my own. I wouldn't be motivated. I wouldn't be the person that I am without this experience. And so for that, I'm grateful for that too. And again, of course it's hard. Everything in life is hard. There's nothing that's ever going to be easy when it comes to life, period. But again, there's two things we can control in life. It's the mindset and the attitude. And for me, over the past 2-3 years, I've really learned how to take control of my mindset and my attitude. Because if you can get those two things locked down every single day, you got a freaking chance, man. You got a chance. The things that seem bad aren't that bad. The things that seem great are even better. And it really gives you clarity, and it really helps you figure out who you are, what you're trying to do. And that's so powerful, because I refuse to be one of those people that just goes with the breeze. I refuse to be one of those people that's able to be pushed around by a situation. That's not going to be me. That never will be me. I'm always going to have control of the situation, even if it is uncontrollable. Because if you can take control of your mind and your attitude and have the right perspective, have the right mindset about it, have the right attitude about it, you do have control of a situation in some form or fashion. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. There's always a form of control in every situation. It's just you don't understand that you are giving it away by allowing the situation to dictate and determine what you think, how you feel, who you are. And then for me, I would say my last pivotal moment was actually one really recently. And it was actually this year, 2020. This was a crazy year, 2020. I don't think it was easy for anybody. I don't think that it didn't provide challenges for any single person, because I think it challenged everybody financially, physically, mentally. And I think for me, I didn't realize is that I was moving so fast that I was actually running myself into the ground. And this year really taught me how to be okay with just having a day to yourself. It's okay to be slow for a little bit. It's okay to rest. It's okay to take a day to yourself. I think in this life, everybody thinks that in order to accomplish something, you have to move 1,000 miles an hour. Sometimes you accomplish something really impactful by not doing anything at all, and just having that internal dialogue. And for me, having a lot of my external things taken away from me, golf, the gym, shop, whatever, all that stuff, it really forced me to take a step back and have that internal dialogue with myself, build my relationship with God even further, even though that was always, on the front burner for me. Attack that even more aggressively. Be appreciative of the things in life that can easily be taken away from you, like waking up every day, having an opportunity to talk to somebody, maybe brighten somebody's day, do something for somebody that you might not have thought you could have done for somebody. And what it really forced me to do is it really gave me a strong gut check, and it made me ask myself again, what are you trying to do in life? What are some of the things that are non-negotiables for you? What are some of the things that mean a lot to you? And it took me some time, but over this past 6, 7, 8, 9 months, I've really tapped into that. I've honed into that, and I understand what's important to me. And for me, once you figure out what's important to you, it clarifies the picture. It clarifies the road that you need to take to continue to get to the goals that you want to get to in life. And for me, like what I had said, earlier in my video, family is everything to me. My sole purpose in life for me is to have a really big sphere of influence and be able to impact people and to pay it back to my family. If I can go in the grave one day knowing that I had provided my family with the things that they deserve to have, I'll die a very happy man. And for me, that's my drive. That's my fire. And what I'm so excited for is that clarity has really allowed me to do things. It's really allowed me to get creative, to do something different, to push myself, to challenge myself, to experience different things, all in the pursuit of trying to get to those same goals. I think in life, people get confused with goals and the path. The path is pliable. It's fluid. It changes. You might be on the path one day and it changes and you take a left-hand turn. But the goals are concrete. Those are permanent. Those stay the same. You always have to keep those in your mind. You always have to keep those in front of you to remind you of what you're trying to do this for. Because life is challenging, man. Life is confusing. Life is supposed to be hard. And it's supposed to confuse you. And it's supposed to give you with a lot of different stimulus. But the purpose is to sift through it, weed through that stuff, and understand what are the things you're supposed to take with you and what are the things you're supposed to take behind. And, for me, I've always been kind of a solitary creature in a sense. I've always been very comfortable with being by myself, doing things by myself. I really enjoy that, honestly. But especially more this year, I've become a lot more comfortable with it. And what's so crazy is because of this year, because of what it's forced me to do internally, I've never been happier in my entire life. I've never been at more peace than I've ever been in my whole life internally than I am right now. I don't care what people say. I don't care what people's opinions are. Those don't pay my bills. Those don't affect me. And, I know what's important and I know what's not important. And for me, that's such a relieving feeling, because when you're at war with yourself, when you're struggling to find that happiness, when you're struggling to find that peace, life is not fun. It's not enjoyable. It's a battle. And for me, I don't want to fight that battle anymore. And obviously, happiness, it comes and goes. There's waves to it. And happiness, the definition of happiness changes based off of who you are at that time. And what I'm so excited for is that this year has forced me to learn how to tap into that. It's taught me to learn how to figure out how to find that. And for me, I'm excited for that because, now that I figured out that cheat code, there's, I don't anticipate too many things in life really slowing me down. So yeah, guys, those are kind of my defining moments. And hopefully, I shared a little bit about myself. I gave you guys a little bit of an update of who I am, who's the person that's the host of the sit down, and hopefully I gave you guys what you wanted to hear. I think again, there's defining moments in people's lives, and I'm excited to hear yours. I'm excited to hear other people's, and I figured the best way to do that was to share mine first, to give people something to look forward to, what you can expect in the future. And I'm excited for what's coming next. I'm looking forward to the journey. I'm having so much fun right now. I'm having so much fun hearing the feedback from everybody. And I'm having so much fun with the challenge, of doing something that's outside my comfort zone, learning how to do all these new things and challenging myself, and hopefully, making an impact to somebody that I might never meet. Because if I can do that, that's a success for me. So yeah, guys, that was my story. Those are some of my defining moments. I'd love to hear some of yours. If you guys would like to share, I'd love to have you on the show and hear some of your defining moments. Because I think this is kind of what I envision the sit down sort of being. People talking about their stories, their defining moments, what makes them who they are. And I really want to try to continue this concept. So Guys, I thank you so much for watching. This video is super long. I can talk forever. I can thank my dad for that, but I want to thank you guys so much for sitting down and listening and watching. I appreciate you guys so much. You know, it's we're just getting started. We have a lot of really cool things to come, and I'm excited to take you guys along the journey. So we will see you guys next time, all right? And God bless everybody. Count your blessings. Be appreciative for things you have in life. Don't take things for granted, guys, because as quickly as things can come, they can go. So enjoy them in the moment, man, because this life is a crazy life, and we have to hold on for dear life and enjoy it. Enjoy it, because there's no guarantees. We don't know if there's tomorrow. We don't know if we're going to wake up in the morning. So enjoy these moments, guys. Appreciate this stuff, because it's the small things in life that lead up to big outcomes. And if you can't enjoy the small things in life, the big things will never mean anything to you. All right, guys? Appreciate y'all so much. I love y'all so much. And we'll see you guys soon, okay? See you later. Peace.